Hello, hello from the Whiskey Vault. I've got reasonable internet in here, so I'm hoping everything works out. You know, I'm not the most tech on how to handle these things, but I think we're going to be okay. I hope everyone's dry week is going well. Somebody put in the comments to make sure that you can hear me, but I think we'll be moving here. Oh, tea. Yes. I am drinking TWG tea, which is a company that I think originated in Hong Kong. And their like classic brand of their name, 1836, I think it's called. It's 18 something or other. Good tea, loose leaf tea. Usually I just do PG tips, but this is good. All right. We got all the classics here. Freak Mac and Schumacher and old school, baby. All right. I am not looking for a video editor, Elijah. I've got one. But thank you. Okay. So, Jay Whiskey's finishing up a spirit run. Boone County Distilling. Hell yeah. I think I've got Boone County in here. I know I have Boone County in here, but I'm not going to leave the camera and go roaming around to try to find it. But I'm glad you're here. Okay, so I got questions. I did a short, YouTube short, and said, hey, if you got questions for the live stream, put them here. And we had a great response. Hey, Jeffrey. And so I'm going to read some of the questions, and then I'll keep an eye on the comments too. But I'm really glad that you're here. It's nice to have some way to finally, interact with you guys directly. This is one of my only ways, so I'm glad we're doing it. Eric Waite. Oh, Nick Nean. Nice. Num. Okay, so John McElwain says, is the Texas course of the Bonafide program available? And the answer is, it is yes. Just Google Bonafide Whiskey Program Wizard Academy, and you'll find a landing page, and there's links to do the Texas one from there. So, heck yeah. There's a button that you can just add it on, so you don't have to pay the full price because, actually, can you add it on? I don't remember. I think there's an add-on button. Anyway. Let's see. That's really cool. Okay. Did you happen to see... Oh, he also says, did you happen to see that Edinburgh has an American malt whiskey certification? Yeah, because I helped film it. I did the intros to it, and then I helped procure all the whiskeys for it. And then I, along with a bunch of people that are friends of mine, were the first run to walk through it and check it out. It's a great program. I think they did an amazing job. Let's see. Oh, newsletter, Ian. Ian P. Hey, man. Man, this is old school gathering. So glad that you're here. Okay, I've been here. Okay, look, I'm not going to address this in the comments anymore, but I'm still getting people who practically go, what happened to Rex? I'm like, man, you've not been here in a while. That was October of last year. We're almost a year ago now. Rex took Whiskey Tribe and Crowded Barrel for-profit businesses and refocused all of his energies on that. I withdrew from those and refocused all of my energies on the Whiskey Vault, Whiskey Marketing School, and Wizard Academy, partially due to IRS legal complications of nonprofit, for-profit. And so we are now neighbors. Like, hello there, neighbor. And, but yeah, that's it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Eric Waite. I'll be curious to see what you think about it. It was really my favorite thing about the program, and Eric, I think you're going to love this, was the conversations that happen in these 20-minute long videos where they just sat down with like Jared and Steve Hawley and like all of these guys, and they just sat down and talked through the kind of nerdy conversations we tend to have at tables, and it was really fun. I'm just checking on the comments real quick. Oh, Fort Campbell, nice. Okay. Dry Weekends Friday. Favorite Irish whiskey. My favorite household Irish whiskey, just to keep with me at all times, is Powers, the budget version. And my go-to favorite drink right now of Irish is probably currently, I keep going back to Dingle because I like that. Oh, and that was a question from Jiu-Jitsu Jack 88 from yesterday's post. Malt Philistine. All right. Very cool. I know every time I pause, it's because I'm trying to get caught up on the comments. It's like prime content right there. Okay. Trent Zimmerman 2660 says, I'm seeing more discount and less interesting releases, but still seeing packed tasting events. Is there a slowing in the industry right now? No. I mean, yes, it's not just your bias. 100% there has been a significant drop in whiskey consumption globally, and the big brands are all flipping their shit right now. It's not the end of the world. It's going to be fine, but it's the people who only decide whether or not they're okay based on last quarter's numbers. Those people are all panicking. Everybody who's in this because this is life and this is what they care about, we're all fine. What is... Oh, man. Many people said if you could only drink one whiskey for the rest of your life. And I just think, like, why would you wish that upon me? And honestly, it could be any one of hundreds of whiskeys, and I would still be like, yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah. Very cool. Have you considered writing a book with all your experience? Yeah. So Stephen Farron... Yes, I've thought about writing a book not because I really passionately want to write a book, but because it's a really great way to maintain presence in an industry, to be somebody who wrote the book on something. But every time I think about writing a book, I immediately 6 books that have already done an astounding job of it come to mind. And because my dream has never been to be an author and a writer, and that's not what drives me. And there are people out there that is who they are and that is their identity. I'm more of a teacher first and an explorer second. And I write because sometimes that's the best way to communicate. I'd rather focus my energies on the things that truly get me out of bed in the morning and get me excited. Yeah. Okay. Since this is Alex Billy Parkins. Since Ireland and Scotland were making whiskey long before the U.S., when did Ireland and Scotland begin using U.S. barrels? Mostly this happened around the time that it became reasonable to import used bourbon barrels from the U.S. So late 1800s, early 1900s, there's this sort of scaling, slow growth into Ireland and Scotland using a lot of bourbon barrels. And then it really kicked off in mid 20th century, exploded. Thomas Hardy, 1851 says, what's your favorite Japanese whiskey? I think right now it's Hakushu. No, not Hakushu. I was just pouring Hakushu for somebody in here. It's Yoichi Miyagikyo, which is one of the Nika distilleries. Yoichi, Miyagikyo, Nika, but I like Miyagikyo. A.G. McCoy says, why is it that some folks don't like whiskeys that have gone through rapid aging and like the bourbons and single malts made in Central Texas? First, I'm going to say that the whiskey in Texas is not rapid aged, but I know what you mean by that, which is that it has a higher barrel extraction rate. And that can sometimes, to some people, feel like hyper aging. And that just means that people don't like high tannin forward, high barrel extractive notes mixed with young grain combos. But that was probably also people who tried Texas whiskey in the early days of Texas whiskey. A lot of things have changed now. It's very different now. So I would say come back and try some new stuff. Eric Waite wants to do a whiskey coloring book. That would actually be kind of fun. Like an adult coloring book. Oh, Ron Miles said, when will a Somm group to Kentucky meetup weekend? I don't know. That's in the Somm group to discuss. John Tracy Music says, what do you think makes for better value in general? A big age statement whiskey, but it's 40 to 43%, or a younger whiskey at cask strength? I don't know. I've had both that I thought were really great money spend. So I think it just has to do with how much money you want to spend on it. But yeah, I could both. That's so fair. That's not really an answer. I apologize. Yeah, never go. Yeah, J Whiskey, never go to Kentucky and ask them what they think of Texas whiskey, because they're all like, that's not real. but most of them are not getting what we're all getting to drink here in Texas. And there's a lot of cool shit going on in Texas that is not easy to get in other states. So we're not really drinking all the same things. Donner Pass Whiskey, good to see you. And Stephen Farron 1229 says, are there any companies that bottle and sell new make? And the answer is actually yes. More and more these days, even the big brands are selling new make versions of their spirit. Most of them are only selling it at their tasting rooms. But like I over here, which you can't see this, but in the top corner over here, I've probably got 50 bottles of new make from various brands all over North America and Scotland. And I love doing A/B comparisons with those companies. But you just got to look out for them. Let's see. Bam Bam 2X. Hey, do you find that you drink seasonally? Ooh, yeah. I mean, I would say year round, I just drink anything that I think sounds interesting. But when it's really crazy hot in Texas, I tend to like whiskeys that go well on the rocks, bourbon, high proof things. And in the fall, I really love the desserty things. And in the winter, I really love smoky, funky, rich things. Yeah. So I don't know that I've intentionally done that, but I think I accidentally do it on a regular basis. Hey, MMWOSU. I don't know how I would say that, but hey, welcome. Glad you're here. Whiskey, dear Michael, your username, Michael, is the worst. It's really hard to read. What is the next best liquid to pair cigars with when it's dry week? The answer, I think, is tea. I love hot tea in cigars and black coffee in cigars. I don't know. It's magical. It's magical. Let's see. Oh, Ali Samir, Ali asked something evidently, but I didn't see it because the comments are moving. So yeah, Asrani, maybe post that again, so I don't have to try to scroll back up and guess. Oh, Kyle Taylor, that's a great question. What's your favorite Scottish distillery that you can only get from independent bottlers but doesn't tend to release their own stuff? It used to be Fettercairn, but I would say that these days, so many of them are like also putting out single malts. It's hard to find those. So my instinct originally was Fettercairn, but yeah, ginger. Yeah, of course, whiskey ginger. And if Ali says anything, tag Whiskey Vault when you type it, and it'll probably show up faster. John Center 549. Single malt batch 1 was a butterscotch bomb. Do you know of a close equal? And the answer is a lot of Speyside. That single malt that we put out, the one that won the awards, was the closest Speyside style Texas whiskey that I've ever had, with the exception of a couple of Miradors from Balcones. So I would say head to Scotch and Speyside, or head to Balcones and get some of their used oak type stuff. Ian Trapper, are there any peated single pot still Irish whiskeys where the malted barley portion is smoked dry? Wait. So basically, is there any peated pot still Irish whiskey? And the only peated ones that I know of right now off the top of my head is the Teeling is doing their one. And I think that's on a pot still. And I don't know if Conmara is made on pot stills or not. But maybe those. Jay Whiskey says, what's your favorite American single malt? Oh, Town Branch. Here's the thing. So see this shelf behind me right here? Jay Whiskey? That's got probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 150 bottles of whiskey on it. That's all American single malt. That's the American single malt section. 100% of those bottles is American single malt. And in that mix, there's probably 50 that I would gladly be stuck drinking for the next month and nothing else. And there's another 50 that I think are like, that's damn good. There are a lot of things to choose from in American single malt. It's glorious. And it's my favorite American whiskey section. Yeah. Let's see. What books do you recommend? Mr. Dan the Man. What books do you recommend about whiskey? Man, just right out of the gates, Lou Bryson's tasting whiskey books. And then I love everything that Dave Broom writes as just a travelogue writer, right? Like he just has a way with words. In Ireland, I like Fionn O'Connor's book. I can't remember the name of it. Eric Waite put Fionn O'Connor's Irish whiskey book, or somebody put Fionn O'Connor's Irish whiskey book in here. It's so good. And I can't remember the name of it right now. And I removed all the books from here and put them up in my office. I used to have it right over here behind me. Tracy, I don't know of any tour companies in Kentucky, but if anyone in the comments knows, respond to Tracy and tell them, if you're going to Kentucky and you want to work with a tour company to take bourbon distillery, Kentucky Bourbon Trail tours, who would you recommend? A Glass Apart. Yes, that's it. NMCO 123. It's A Glass Apart. That's the one. It's so good. Bourbon Empire is great. Yeah. Who asked the book question? Mr. Dan the Man. I've got a spreadsheet list that, if I can remember when I'm done with this live stream, that's like 1,000 books and articles and links that I keep track of, like everything that I'm reading, writing, and finding. And it's just an ongoing Google Excel spreadsheet that was started by my friend Reed Huddleston. And then I have been adding to it here and there, and he did 98% of the work. And I've been reading ones that he recommended, and that's a great list, but you'll die before you finish reading it all. I'll share the sheet link. It's on one of our Google Drives. Yeah, The Glass Apart, small print, and Fionn was pissed about how that turned out. He didn't like that it's hard to read. It is hard to read, but it's a great book. Donner Pass Whiskey. No one's planning on doing cave aging, but if anyone could do it, it would be here in the Hill Country. And we've talked about doing like partial cave dunnage warehouses. It's very expensive to cut holes in limestone, just in case you were wondering. Okay. Orpheus 159. Where in the whiskey world would you next like to take a trip and explore their distilleries? I'd really love to go to Australia and Japan. Australia, they're just so spread out. Japan is easier to travel between them. And I've never been in Japan. That would be really fun. I loved Ireland. I'd love to go back again and visit all the ones that I missed because we just hit Waterford, Middleton, and then hung out in Dublin. So I'd like to do that too. Yeah. Any great value distilleries left? Oh, any good value distilleries like before Enoch? I think Craigellachie is underrated by a lot of people, and I love Craigellachie. And I think nah, all the other ones that my brain is attaching to, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Everybody knows that. Oh yeah, Waterford's peated whiskey is pot still. Thank you. Pablo Camion? Yes. Well covered. Okay. Orpheus 159 also asked, oh, this is important. Will the vault be involved in this year's ball? Bastard's Ball for the Whiskey Tribe. Or Crowded Barrel, I mean. Any mini song course planned for that Friday, like last year? Yes, and yes. So you guys are going to be the first to hear about it. But the invite is going to go to everybody who has Bastard's Ball tickets, probably next month. And we'll accept the first 32 people who sign up. We are going to be available for tours, just like we are every year for Bastard's Ball. And I'm going to be one of the tour guides. And then on the Friday before Bastard's Ball, October 11th, we're going to do a 4 p.m. guided tasting for the first 32 people who pay. I think we tend to put it at like $300 to $500. It's a little pricey. But this year, here's my plan. I'm going to snag a whole bunch of the earliest whiskeys from the first year or 2 years that we had Crowded Barrel. So 2018, 2019. And we're going to do a guided tasting called Crowded Barrel, the Early Years, with me and Emma Crandall. And that'll be the Friday before. So that'll be super fun. If you are a Bastard's Ball ticket already holder, then you're going to see that invite sometime in September. I need more tea. Yeah, Edgewater is a good one. That's a good one, Ian. Tea time. Tea time. Yes, Michael, we are doing the Somm meetup thing. So the Somm gathering is going to start in the morning, and then at about 3:30, we're going to kick everybody down to Engelbrecht or elsewhere on campus. Well, I do an hour and a half, 2 hour guided tasting, and then we're going to bring the Somms back up to the tower and spend the rest of the evening there together. Very cool. All right. So Leopold, oh, this is Alex Schaefer. Leopold Brothers produces whiskey on the 3-chamber still. Are there any other producers using this type of still that can be purchased? Right now, no. But I know in the background of a handful of craft distilleries who are currently in process of, what do you call it, commissioning their own 3-chamber stills. And so I would say in the next 4 years, you're going to start seeing a handful of other craft distilleries putting out 3-chamber still product. Yeah, I was harsh on Edgewater and harsh on it not because it's not great. Alexander, you're absolutely right. But there's a licorice note in like the classic standard Edgewater release that's like this black licorice anise type note. And I hate black licorice. And so it always throws me. But I haven't found it on some of their other special releases, just on like their main classic one. So I need to go back and give it another chance. Yeah. The tea that I'm drinking is TWG 1836 black tea. Good Lord, Eric, take a break sometimes. I know of a place in Texas that you could come and relax and hang out for a little bit, maybe when it cools down. Hey, Greg Van Ness had a comment. I realize that doing daily reviews, you have a lot of alcohol to deal with. How many reviews do you shoot in a day on average? How many days a week do you shoot? I shoot 1 day a week, and I shoot 4 episodes per shoot. So that gets me, 2 weeks of Tuesday, Thursday content. And then the next week I'll shoot 4 of the Friday released videos. And then I'll go back and shoot 4 of the Tuesday, Thursday videos. And we just keep doing that until we get a little bit ahead. So yeah, very cool. But when I do those videos, I've never finished one of those video shoots and blown more than a 0.03. That's the highest I've gotten from shooting vault videos, is blowing 0.03. And I think it's over here. Here's how hardcore I am about this. I keep like that super expensive breathalyzer in the vault and another one in my office, because I'm always checking and making sure everything's all good, not driving home, anything like that. Yeah, Christina. Yeah, I'm not shooting vault videos for the next 2 weeks because we already have enough content to release through mid to end of September. And so that bought us some breathing room in August. And I'm using that time to do this and to shoot. We're redoing the tower update for Wizard Academy, and we're releasing our first one on Friday. So it's good to get ahead and be able to breathe and take a little bit of a moment in the background. Advent calendar, John McElwain. Yes, I want to do the Advent calendar again. Let's do the Advent calendar again. So okay. Oh, thank you, Ira. Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments. I got a handful more comments. If I don't get to your comments from this post before the end of this live stream, because we're already 30 minutes in, I promise I will reply to every one of these in writing. So thank you for commenting. Robert McKay, thanks for your video. Don't be a reaction. Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, all of those kinds of videos are just talking to myself mostly and hoping that you guys find some benefit in it. It's just me verbalizing shit that I've been going through or figuring out or understanding or learning about myself. And I'm glad that you guys are finding it helpful in any way. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Did I miss anything else? What brands never had? Oh, Tim has never had whiskey. Good Lord. Tim, what else do you drink? Or do you drink no alcohol and you've just not had, or you drink alcohol but you haven't had whiskey? Answer that question for me. Yeah, cool. Do I have a favorite whiskey story? Oh man. So on the channel, I told one of my all-time favorite whiskey stories, which is when I accidentally hung out with Fionn O'Connor in his apartment and didn't realize who it was. So that's one of my all-time favorite whiskey stories. That's so good. Okay. Let me see if I can catch up. Oh, what was I going to say? Shoot. Yes. Okay. Advent calendar. Okay. Oh, Tim, answer this question. When you drink, what do you love? When you drink alcohol, what do you love? And Ian, no, Crowded Barrel's never going to be able to partner with Wizard Academy, not for legal reasons, because we work with other businesses. We could work with them. They're just so small and so focused on delivering to their community that they really don't have any production room to spare for side quests for Wizards. So maybe someday we'll get to a point where we could be like, hey, let's source something from you guys that we stock in the tower and it becomes the Wizard Academy whiskey. That would be a really fun. As a matter of fact, I would really love to do a blend, that we could have for the tower. But yeah, anyway. Tim says vodka and rum. Do you just drink it neat? You drink vodka neat, or what do you put in it? Like, Is it in a cocktail? And if so, name the cocktail. Okay. Dang it, I keep getting sidetracked. Advent calendars. Here's my problem with advent calendars, and I'm open to discussion on this. If I say, let's go do an advent calendar together as a community, what I'm doing is immediately sending however many people straight to another business to spend a shit ton of money. And part of me is like, I feel weird about that. And then I want to reach out to that company and be like, hey, if I recommend you, but then immediately it's like, well, now I'm getting sponsorship money. And now my objective, now we're in business together. And like, it's so hard. But I do want to do the advent calendar together. So I don't know what the workaround is. But maybe there's a way we could do an advent calendar that could also be a fundraiser for Wizard Academy. And so that we could raise some money for Wizard Academy while all buying the same thing that we're going to drink together in December. I am going to think about that because I think that would be really freaking fun. But I needed to bring in some money for Wizard Academy. Yeah, and I am never going to do legit sponsorships on this channel. I'm just not going to do it. But I wouldn't mind doing a fundraiser where we partner with somebody for some reason. Tim said he mixes it with anything. Tim, you got to be more specific, man. I just need anything that I can help with. Let me say this, because it seems like you like things mixed. Start drinking whiskey-based cocktails instead of vodka rum-based cocktails. Start there. Just when you go to a bar, find out what whiskey cocktails they make and start trying those. Any and all of them. When you start finding the ones that you like, pay attention to whether they tend to be ones that are bourbon-based or rye-based or scotch-based mixed drinks. And then if you're really feeling adventurous, then just when you go out for drinks, always order one small sip, like taster size, of some random whiskey that the bartender recommends and give it a shot. That's it. Just give it a shot. See how it goes. Oh man, an advent calendar that was all Ardbeg. Look, if I did that, Eric, I'm going all in, and it's going to be 25 days of Wee Beastie. Oh, that would be so funny. Brandon McVicker, I do still make music. I'm still currently recording. I'm still currently writing with friends, and I do not play out live right now, mainly because of time. All right. Any other questions in here real quick? Yeah, I wish Wee Beastie was cheaper too. John McElwain also asked, can the Vault and Psalm program still access the still? And the answer is, we can access it by we can go visit it, but I have to work with Kyle and Brandon, the operations over there, to make sure that we're not interrupting a work day. Or so when we did the Stave and Thief certified bourbon steward, executive bourbon steward, I arranged ahead of time for us to take the whole group of students down to the Crowded Barrel while Kyle was doing production run and showing its equipment. And so, yeah, we can still go over there and visit and do things like that as a resource, but it's no different than if I arranged it with any other distillery in Austin. A young Popcorn Sutton. Who's Popcorn Sutton? Tim, how many bottles do I have? In here, we've got over 3,000 bottles in this vault. Me personally, at my house, I have around somewhere between 200, probably close to the over 100, under 200 would be my guess. What would I recommend from Crowded Barrel? I don't know. They've got last time I walked into the bar, they had like 30 bottles on the bar of things you could try. I have not been keeping up. I'm way behind on what's there. I love Irene Tan's blends, and I think you can still drink those. So do that. That sounds great. What's the difference? Oh, Stephen asks, Stephen Farron, what's the difference between cask strength and barrel proof? And the answer is typically nothing. It's just two ways of saying the same thing. There's no legal definition of any of those things. Oh, a famous moonshiner. Popcorn Sutton. I'm going to Google that. Maybe I am Popcorn Sutton. Ooh, plot twist. So 5 sector 5. If you were given a distillery and you wanted to make the perfect whiskey, how would you proceed? And the answer is there's no such thing. There's simply, I have very specific flavor preferences. I would probably start trying to make barley whiskey, malts, and I would probably lean into everything that I love about malt. And so I would angle my fermentations to be longer, and I would want pot still, and I would want a mix of barrels in various sizes. And then I would just start playing around with whatever was coming out as they aged and learn from the environment and from everything. So not really the perfect final product. There's no such thing. Whiskey's too flexed like alchemy. There's too many X factors. Let's see. I hope I didn't miss any. Yannico Laro 4758. Do you get whiskeys that are instead of single malt, single wheat, single corn, and single rye? No, not typically, because single doesn't mean only that grain. But I think if you mean 100% rye, 100% wheat, 100%, there are distilleries doing all of those. I have had 100% wheat whiskey, and I have had 100% rye, and they're funky and interesting. And the wheat was kind of boring, but it's a very cool experience. John Smith, thank you, sir. Let's see. Good stuff. He went out on his own terms. A bike practitioner. Are we in a whiskey bubble? No. How will it pop? It won't. It'll peter and filter. And if you study whiskey history, you will find that we're in one of those phases where production has exploded to meet perceived demand, and then demands change, and a whole bunch of big companies are left holding the bag, and then they start scaling back and mothballing distilleries temporarily. And then 30, 40, 50 years later, there's demand again, and distilleries are reopened and whole new, and it's just a cycle. And everybody needs to calm down. Stop freaking out. Greg Vansness also asked, what does it take for a region to be designated as a whiskey region? And I thought he was talking about Scotland, in which case the answer is 3 distilleries for you to be a region. But he was saying for the world. And I think it's just accessibility, volume of product, and awareness. So Japan had a pretty big variety of product, but they just didn't have awareness until they won best in the world that one year. And then all of a sudden, Japan was a region in a lot of people's minds, and still is. So I think it's just, you got to hit that sweet spot where everything sort of finally lines up, and bam, now, Australia is a region, and so on. And a lot of countries, their whiskey output's just not reaching critical mass. Shiner Bach is digging into this, says, Jose, Shiner Bach is dipping into the whiskey game. They're not dipping, they're swimming. And I tried their new make, and it's great. I can't wait to see what whiskey comes out of there. Ian P, there's a release here in Australia that takes the heads, tails, and cuts and then redistills it. Yeah, that's called Queen's. We did that at Crowded Barrel. A lot of craft distilleries do that. That's called Queen's Run. And most distilleries won't release it by itself, although I would love to try it. Most distilleries use it as a blending component to add in flavor profiles that are missing from the other barrels. Stephen Ferron, what type of ryes do you like? Anything Monongahela, I tend to be like, oh yeah, that I can do. A lot of craft guys are doing Monongahela rye. Wiggle, Dad's Hat. I can't. My mind. Oh man, I feel bad. My mind went blank. But there's several more. Sagamore's good. They were mostly sourcing, but now they've got their own stuff coming up. Let's see. Can you know those massive glasses? I'm trying to get caught back up on comments. Blended grain. Oh, grains. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Dan the Man. You smoke a pipe and eat tobacco recommendations. No, because I'm a local pipe smoker. And what I mean is there's a pipe shop in Waco that is literally the first pipe tobacco I ever purchased at age 18. Don's Humidor number 2, I think it is. And that's still what I buy from Waco. Driftless Glen is a great rye, yeah. Alan Mitchell, good one. Okay, hang on. We had Powers. I did have the Powers rye. I did an episode on it. Blair, I don't know which Sagamores are their own distillate. I just know that they are now. Okay, good. I'm caught up on those questions. Ian, what do your hard to balance supply? Okay, good. Let me go back to these questions here real quick because I'm almost done with them actually. Stephen Curtin, what's the most interesting, unusual cask type that you've come across? Chestnut from the Method in Madness Middleton Craft Distillery, and it was really cool, very interesting. What do I want to see become common? Just larger profile barrels. I would like to see more larger profile older whiskeys coming out of America, out of bigger barrels, just to see how we can buy some real time without the over oaked notes. Scotch Now. Hey, Daniel, what are your 3 favorite American single malt distilleries? 3 favorite. God, I can't limit it. I can't pick just 3. There's too many good ones. Have you seen the shelf? There's too many. I'm not going to narrow it down to 3. Andy Salient. Is there any utility in having a certificate? He's a certified Scotch whiskey professional, and I wait tables at a high-end restaurant. Man, Eric Waite and I have had long conversations about this. I would say the only reason for education is do you want to learn more? And if you want to learn more, then all of the programs have things to teach you. All of them. I've taken most of them and I've learned things in all of them. And they all do things a little differently, and they all accent different parts, and they all have different approaches to what they believe education is for and how you should teach. But first and foremost, we should all be lifelong students. And that does not mean that you have to go collect certifications like, scout badges. But you should always be learning. And you don't need a certificate or a course or a program or a medallion to always be learning. You've got Google, books, communities, bars, restaurants, distilleries. There are thousands of places to learn and not spend any more money or get someone's pen. I will say that in different industries, as our people have gone to get jobs and open things and open businesses, the certifications have helped push them through the mess and the mud of 50 applicants. If it's like, damn, this person is this, this, and this, it has had some value. But I've also seen it backfire where some people thought a program was stupid, like somebody really hated. I knew a guy who was a manager locally, hates WSET irrationally. And he excluded anybody who got WSET certified because he thought it was stupid. So anyway. Your mileage may vary, but just don't stop learning. That's all that really matters. And I feel like I missed some things somewhere. Sorry, you guys were talking. Okay, no, I didn't miss anything. What are you going to drink your smoky whiskey to start? Oh, Scott Azevedo said, what do you recommend starting with a smoky, meaty whiskey? Man, start with Scotch. Start with Ardbeg or Lafroig, Coil or Lagavulin. Just the super classics. And then just find out which direction you lean and start exploring more things. I am missing. See what cocktail thing? Anything? Oh, Andy Salient. James Oscar earned his diploma in bartending from a college in Canada. Oh yeah, man, do the just brewing and distilling program, James Oscar. I've heard that's a really great. The IDB, is that what you mean? This in something brewing distilling certificate. ID anyway. Yeah, I know graduates from that program, and that's a nerd program. That's somebody who wants to run stills and ferment and work at a production facility. But if you want that, then yeah, absolutely, that's a great way to go. Man, we only got like 15 minutes left. This time is flying. Patrick Cullen, I've got a lot of Australian whiskeys over here, probably a dozen at least, and I am a huge fan of what's coming out of Australia. As they're getting older, just like Texas craft and American craft, they're getting older, they're getting more experience, they're getting more time, and it's just getting better and better. And Andresino Belarus McEwen, do you ever review Swedish whiskey? Yes. As a matter of fact, McMira I've reviewed, and I think there was one other one, but we've got a couple, I think, but definitely McMira. Mr. Dan the Man, which Bonafide? Man, do Texas, and here's why. If you do the Texas Bonafide program, it includes the other Bonafide program. So the very first Bonafide program is like, 20 videos? The Texas one only adds a handful of videos to the existing program. So if you do the Texas one, then you get both. And I'm a huge fan of people knowing more about Texas whiskey. So do the Texas one. Haven. Yes. Yeah, I've done that one. I don't see it right now. Anyway, yes, I've done Swedish whiskeys. Also, Indian. Yes, actually, Amrit, I really like. And there's one other Indian whiskey that's not Amrit. Is it Paul John? John Paul? Paul John. John Paul? Paul John? Paul John is great. I haven't had anything from Paul John that I didn't think was like, that's damn good whiskey. And I've had a couple things from Paul John that I was like, man, that is great whiskey. So definitely do that. Bing. I've had Ramper and I was not that impressed, but that was a long time ago. Sam, here's an interesting question. Sam623 says, how do big distilleries know when to make their cuts? Is someone standing by tasting what's coming off the still? The answer is, on most of the distilleries that are in, Scotland and Ireland, and they are still doing some level of hands-on sensory during distillation. But there is a big movement in the big guys towards computers and someone sitting in a control room and clicking buttons. And that's easier to do when you include columns still in your production. So in America, there's a lot more machines running things when less sensory. Not a lot, but you'll see it. Whereas in Scotland, it's still pretty common for people to get hands-on. In America, there are several big players that are just button pushing at a certain level. And all the craft guys are doing full-on sensory because button pushing is too damn expensive to have all of that equipment in place. So most people, I would argue, across the world making whiskey are still have hands-on tactile involvement with the cuts. M&H I've had out of Tel Aviv, and I did like them. Ringo, John Paul Ringo. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Yeah. If James Oscar, if I ordered a case of whiskey from a Texas distillery to import into Canada, there's a $650 surcharge. Holy crap. Okay. Dude, for that much money, buy a plane ticket, come down, and fly back with it and visit Texas. I mean, I like Balcones, but I don't know if I like Balcones enough to pay $650 just to have the luxury of importing it. That's insane. Well, good morning to you, simply. Any other? Okay, we got 10 minutes left. Any other final thoughts, questions? Man, I really probably should have turned off the lights in the background to make it a little less shiny back there, huh? It's nice that I realized that 50 minutes in. I'm not the video guy. I'm going to work with our new video editor and see if he can help me set up a really easy, high quality live streaming camera setup so it looks like studio quality when I do these. But we've been prioritizing engagement and action and getting things done over whether or not they look real fancy. And that's why I'm even here in the first place. And I'm always going to prioritize let's get things done over let's make things perfect. And so, hopefully the next time we do this, it'll be a little higher quality. This background kind of looked fake for a second. Oh, it does. If I put my arm back here, it looks like one of those Zoom screens where you can fake a background. I'm just gonna, should I do more live streams? They are kind of a heavy lift, Mr. Dan the Man. That's why I've kept them to dry week quarters because it makes it emotionally manageable for me. But since it's one of the only ways that I can talk to you guys, we might end up doing more of them. We'll see. Let's see. Picked up two. There's tens of us. Kind of look fake for a second. It is. Oh, it's 11 a.m. Good Lord. How many time zones is Australia? Isn't it 3? Green screen fake news. Here, watch this. Ready? So I'm going to prove to you it's not fake. Conk, conk. Okay. That's really funny. It would be great if I did that and then a fake banner fell down and it really was just a picture, but in a big room. Oh man, you know how much work it would take to just pull off a prank for a split-second video reaction like that? That would be absurd. It turns out I'm just in a storage facility in a you store it location in South Austin. All right, so we got 5 minutes. And let's see. Oh, that's a great question, Aeronaut. How much has your experience of whiskey tasting influenced your tea tasting? A lot, actually. It's made me way more aware of the nuances in tasting tea, and I always loved tea already. So it's just paying more attention to your sensory experiences in general doesn't stop with the thing that you focused it on. It rolls out and impacts everything. It's one of the things I love about it. Hey, well done getting the Texas Bonafide. How did I get my start in the whiskey industry? You guys. That's how. You guys. I started the Whiskey Somm program. I sort of did it out of thin air. I started the Whiskey Vault channel, and then Rex joined, and then you guys all showed up and gave me a distillery. And then I love building community. So I've always been really active in the distillation community and in the whiskey community. And any chance I had to get involved and help and support, I did. And so that meant I ended up help founding the Texas Whiskey Association, and I was the president of the Texas Whiskey Association for a little while. But I would argue that it's you guys. You guys gave me a whiskey career. So thank you. And cheers to you. This is why I keep saying I'm really glad you're here. Matt Welch is repeating, and yes, I did absolutely miss it. Monthly Daniel streams. Christina, you're going to be the death of me. I'm going back to make sure I didn't miss anything. I saw Matt. I'm going to read yours, I promise. Prohibition if they just mandated monthly dry week. T-Rec. Oh, Yorkshire tea from England. Yes. Have it. Love it. I go back and forth between Yorkshire or PG Tips and Taifu, I think. You're up. That makes sense. Yes, absolutely. Aaron, I always tell everybody who plays instruments, learn to play drums. I don't care what else you play. If you learn to play drums, it'll make you a better at every other instrument. Timing, pacing, separation, everything. Comment, planning on taking Whiskey Somm in November. Hell yeah. Started planning the trip today. Yes. Good to see you in November. We're not very far away from there. So I'm looking forward to it. Oh, JT, I have absolutely picked up a water glass and nosed it and then went, what am I doing? Absolutely. We're really good. Sipping. We're really glad you're here. I don't know what I missed there. Yes. All of the P's, Eric Waite. That's how you get into the whiskey. Am I still riding my Triumph? Bush Creek. Hell yes, I'm still riding my Triumph. The Bonneville Speedmaster. Actually, it's not the Bonneville anymore. I miss the Bonneville. But I like that the Speedmaster is a little bit bigger and I can take it on longer rides with more comfort. I mean, Brandon McVicker, when would you ever stop listening to Tom Waits? That's like saying, I don't know. When did you stop eating? Nah, you go to him and then you take a break and then you come back to him and then you take a break and you come back to it. Just like Leonard Cohen. Oh, a bobber. Nice. I would do a bobber if I lived actually in downtown Austin. Like if I lived downtown in a major city and I just wanted a small bike that was easy to park, I could hop around, no big deal, not long rides. Actually, no, it wouldn't be a bobber. It would be one of the new Royal Enfields that are freaking works of art and so affordable. And I've been drooling over them since they came out a couple of years ago. And I want one so bad. I just have literally no excuse to spend money on another motorcycle right now, but I want it so bad. Okay, so commitment. Oh, Trident. Ooh, that's a cool one. Hey, gotta run. See you later, Ian. It's good to see your face. Sort of. Do you have a favorite song to listen to while you're no, just, and there's so many things. There's so much music. Okay. So we're wrapping up 2 minutes. The next time that I see you guys, the next dry week. Oh, Robert Feller. Yeah, thanks for popping in. I don't know when the next dry week is. In theory, it was put on my calendar for November. The first week of November, basically. So if so, then that will for sure be the next live stream. But maybe we can do, if I get an easy camera set up, maybe we can do it a little more often. Maybe we could do a live stream with friends, and then it's an excuse for me to invite some of my friends over to, the academy or my house, and we just all sit around a microphone and talk to you guys. That could actually be really fun. But again, I'm just adding work for myself. But I miss getting to talk to you guys. So we'll see. Yeah, it is election week. Jesus, we're gonna all need a drink. 1 minute down. Let's see. Rush is my Tom Waits. Yeah, I get that. The hamster dance. Eric, You knucklehead. And yes, if I do a non-dry week, I will tell you what I'm drinking so that we can all drink together, because that would absolutely be part of the fun. And thank you. Thank you, guys. It's 8 o'clock. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to join. And I will see you all again very soon.